You said something today, and the moment it left your mouth, a part of your brain lit up. Not the part that heard what you said, the part that immediately started calculating how it landed. Did they laugh? Did they look away? Did the room get slightly quieter, or did you imagine that? You replayed it. You are probably still replaying it right now. And the strange, unsettling truth is that you have been doing this your entire life, running a constant invisible simulation of other people's minds, trying to predict what they think of you. You call it self-consciousness. You call it anxiety. You call it overthinking. But the real answer is far stranger. What is happening inside your head is not a flaw. It is one of the most sophisticated survival systems evolution ever built, and it has been running non-stop for at least 2 million years. So the question is not why you care what people think. The question is why you were never supposed to stop. Your brain is a social organ. That sounds like something a therapist might say to make you feel better, but it is a biological fact with real anatomical evidence. Roughly 11% of your cerebral cortex, a region called the default mode network, is dedicated almost entirely to thinking about other people, imagining their mental states, and modeling how they perceive you. When you are doing nothing, when you are staring at the ceiling or waiting in a queue, this network does not go quiet. It becomes more active. Your brain's resting state is not rest at all. It is social simulation. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman at UCLA spent over a decade studying this system, and what he found changed how researchers understood the human brain entirely. Lieberman discovered that the same network that activates when you think about other people's feelings also activates when your brain is idle. He called this the social default. The implication is enormous. Your brain is not designed to think about physics or poetry or abstract problems when given free time. It is designed, by default, to think about people. Why? To answer that, you have to go back. A long way back. About 50,000 years ago, your ancestors lived in groups of roughly 150 people. That number was not random. British anthropologist Robin Dunbar calculated it precisely, and it holds up across hundreds of human societies, ancient and modern alike. Your brain was shaped to track, manage, and navigate exactly that many relationships at once. 150 people. Every single one of them mattered. Because here is what you have to understand about life in that world. You did not have money. You did not have a safety net. You did not have a hospital or a grocery store or a landlord who would give you 30 days notice before you ended up outside. What you had was your group, and your standing within that group determined everything. Whether you ate, whether you were protected during an attack, whether you had a mate, and therefore whether your genes survived at all. Getting excluded from the group was not embarrassing. It was a death sentence, literally. A human alone on the savanna, without shelter, without coordinated hunting, without someone to watch while you slept, was a human who did not survive the season. Social rejection and physical death were, for most of human history, the same threat. Your nervous system learned this. It encoded it so deeply that it became indistinguishable from your basic biology. This is why, when you feel judged, the feeling is physical. Your chest tightens, your face gets hot, your stomach drops. These are not metaphors. These are the same physiological responses your body produces when it detects a physical threat. Because for millions of years, a social threat was a physical threat. Your brain did not evolve to distinguish between them. Researcher Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA ran a now-famous experiment using a simple video game called Cyberball. Participants were told they were playing a virtual ball-tossing game with 2 other players online. In reality, those players were a computer program. Partway through the game, the other players simply stopped throwing the ball to the participant. They were excluded, silently, in a game that did not matter. And the brain scans showed something remarkable. The region of the brain that activated during social exclusion was the same region that activates during physical pain. The anterior cingulate cortex. The same area that fires when you burn your hand or stub your toe fired when a stranger in a fake video game stopped passing a virtual ball. Your brain registers being left out the same way it registers being hurt. That is not weakness. That is 2 million years of engineering. And the system goes even deeper than that. Your brain does not just detect rejection after it happens. It anticipates it, obsessively, constantly. There is a part of your prefrontal cortex dedicated to a process called mentalizing, the ability to simulate other people's mental states in real time, to run a live model of what someone else is probably thinking right now, based on their tone of voice, their posture, the direction of their gaze, the fraction of a second they paused before answering you. You do this automatically. You do it without trying. You do it so fast that you are not even aware it is happening. This is what researchers call theory of mind. And it is extraordinarily rare in the animal kingdom. Most creatures cannot do it at all. Chimpanzees, your closest relatives, show only rudimentary signs of it. But you can build a detailed, dynamic, updating model of another person's internal experience just from watching their face for a few seconds. You can predict what they are about to say. You can feel what they are probably feeling. You can simulate their reaction to something that has not happened yet. That is a superpower. That is the engine that built every civilization, every law, every story ever told. It is also the engine that keeps you up at night, replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, wondering if that person still thinks about what you said. The problem is not that you have this system. The problem is that it was built for a world that no longer exists. In the ancestral environment, the 150 people in your group were the only people in your world. If you lost standing with them, there was nowhere to go. Their opinions were the only opinions that would ever affect your survival. So your brain evolved to treat every social evaluation as permanent, high stakes, and life-defining. Because it was. Now you live in a world with 8 billion people. You interact with hundreds of strangers every week. You post a thought online and 2,000 people see it within an hour. But your brain is still running the old software. It still treats every judgment like it comes from the 150 people your life depends on. It still registers a stranger's disapproving look as a threat to your survival. It still marks an ignored message as a potential exile. Psychologist Leary developed what he called Sociometer theory to explain this exact mismatch. He proposed that your self-esteem is not actually about how you feel about yourself. It is a real-time meter of how included and valued you are by the people around you. When people like you, your self-esteem rises automatically. When they withdraw or criticize, it drops, often without you being consciously aware of why. You are not in control of this system. You inherited it. And because the system was built for a small, stable, face-to-face social world, it has no ability to filter. It cannot distinguish between the opinion of someone who has known you for 20 years and the opinion of a stranger who saw your face for 3 seconds. It weights them almost equally because in the ancestral environment, everyone in your world knew you. Strangers were not strangers. They were future allies or future threats. Every interaction carried weight. This is why negative comments affect you more than positive ones. This is why you can receive 49 compliments and 1 criticism, and the criticism is the only thing you remember by the end of the day. Psychologists call this negativity bias, and it exists for the same reason. A piece of bad social information, you have made an enemy. You have broken a tribal norm, someone powerful dislikes you, was far more dangerous than a piece of good social information. Your brain learned to amplify the bad and file the good away as background noise. You were not built to feel confident. You were built to feel vigilant. And yet, there is something worth sitting with in all of this. Every time you worry about what someone thinks of you, you are using the same system that allowed early humans to cooperate, to plan together, to build trust across a group, to tell stories that synchronized 150 minds into a shared understanding of the world. The ability to care about other people's perceptions is inseparable from the ability to care about other people at all. You cannot have empathy without a theory of other minds. You cannot build a civilization without the ability to model other people's inner worlds. The same system that makes you replay a single awkward sentence for a week also makes you capable of reading a stranger's grief on a crowded train and feeling it in your own chest. Your self-consciousness is not a glitch in your personality. It is the price of being the most socially complex creature that has ever existed on this planet. The next time your brain hijacks a quiet moment and takes you back to something you said, something you should have said, something you are terrified someone thinks about you right now. Recognize what is actually happening. An ancient system built over millions of years is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is keeping you connected. It is keeping you calibrated. It is doing everything in its power to make sure you are never, ever cast out. It just does not know yet that the savanna is gone. You said something today, and your brain has been running the numbers ever since. Not because you are broken, because you are, in the most literal and biological sense possible, built to belong.